Sudan a few. So we will resettle 110-ish by the end of September. And then probably the bigger news is that, we still have a Biden administration going into fiscal year 25. And so we've put forward our numbers because he wants 125,000 refugees next fiscal year in the United States. So we're getting, all the agencies are getting a lot of pressure, frankly, to push more. So we have put forward 225, which we expected that we would grow, depending on the administration, but we anticipated growth. So we have put forward a minimum of 225 fiscal year 25, starting in October. The final thing I'll say is that the federal donor who funds us for that very first 90 days of refugees arriving and approves our 225 number, any number, they're pushing for most arrivals in like the first 3 to 4 months. The assumption is because we don't know the election, in case there's a Trump win, that Trump will cut refugee arrivals. And so we know we're going to get 50% of our arrivals in the first 3 to 4 months. So so October to like January is going to be intense for us and for our partners. The hospital that does our medical appointments, the schools where we're going to enroll a lot of kids. We're going to be looking for jobs, housing. We're already trying to prepare because housing is such a challenge, knowing that we'll have this sort of crush of arrivals everywhere. Des Moines is preparing all across Iowa, all across the US, preparing for this. And then we don't know what will happen. Either it will continue and just slow down a little bit, or all the refugees could just be stopped for one reason or another. So that's just the scenario based on the political projections that we're planning for as a resettlement agency. And then we also have this smaller program that works with undocumented, unaccompanied minors who are in removal proceedings. So that's a very, it's like 98% Spanish speaking, mostly Mexico, Central America. So we are expanding our programming beyond just refugees, which has always been the strategy. So that's our update. That's my update for IRC.
Wonderful. I think that's a very, very important update for all of us here, especially for those of you who are service providers. I don't know if there's anyone who really doesn't know about IRC, the resettlement agency in Iowa that just opened office in Iowa City, but this is I think it actually opened up a lot of opportunities and challenges for most of you who are working, who are service providers. And so, I mean, bringing 125 people in 1 year and then looking into 250 is actually going to put a lot of pressure, so to say, on resources, and also the need for us to step up in some of the things that we do. So if you have any questions for Sarah, we can take that now before we go to Jessica and then Ellen. The thing I would like to say is that, or maybe Sarah, one of the questions is that if anyone wants any, I know that there are some information that have a lot of privacy and so on and so forth. But in my discussions with some of the service providers, like like Samira in the library in Corville, who are providing services and so on. I don't know how much of information can we get about people who are housed in various cities in the county in terms of accommodation.
Is that for me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, we keep the data for those we're finding housing for. So we would have it. I think we could, I think we could share like this number is in Iowa City proper, this number is in Coralville. I don't think I think that's data we could share.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can say it's mostly Iowa City, a little less Coralville and not very much North Liberty, mostly because nobody's got a car. And so even though transport's free in Iowa City, again, as always, the further out you get from city center and the university's network, the harder the transportation is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. Any questions for Sarah, please? Okay, thank you so much for that great information. Jessica, you go ahead.
Hi, I have an announcement from Kelly Schneider, who's our mobility coordinator here with social services. So she wanted to let everyone know that she has an upcoming training about the transit app. It's going to be in English, but with a live French translation. There's no RSVP needed. It's going to be here at our building, which is the Johnson County Health and Human Services Building in our meeting room 214 on the second floor. It is free. They ask that everyone bring their own device to practice. So it was originally scheduled for this past week, but it is now on Thursday, August 15th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And I can forward you her flyer if you wanted to send that out to your groups if you have anyone who would be interested.
Yeah, if you can send me the flyer, I can forward it to the whole group.
Sounds great. Thanks, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I think transportation is very important, and it would be very good to get that information out to people. Any questions for Justin? Okay, Ellen.
Hi, I just wanted to say thanks for inviting us. We are seeing a lot of recent immigrants at the Coralville Library. It's been growing, and we are growing our ELL classes. We have one part-time employee who oversees a pretty big handful of volunteers that are doing in-person Zoom classes. They're unstructured, and they're not leading to any sort of certification or anything, but they seem to they're very well attended. We also have volunteers that are doing just conversation hours several times throughout the week. And then we also have volunteers that are doing one-on-one, just language, sitting and having a conversation with someone. So we're eager to find out how we can help more. We also have Samira helping. I'll let Samira talk a little bit about what she does, but
Yeah,
she does a lot of helping people with paperwork, finding resources, things like that. So
Samira, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just struggling I'm using my phone, so I'm kind of struggling.
Okay.
Going back and forth. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Samira. Yeah, we've definitely been seeing a lot of immigrant population, especially this summer. The ELL classes, like Ella mentioned, has been so popular. Yeah, we have like almost every day of the week we have either a conversation, a ELL class, or one-on-one conversation. So it's been successful. So my job is basically to assist people connect to resources. It really varies from sitting down with people, helping them apply for a job, or helping them look for a job. There's been a lot of housing need lately, especially since the release year is ending end of July. So there are a lot of people looking for government housing, low-income housing and they have to be on the wait list for, like, there's a huge wait list. So there's in that aspect, it's really difficult to find them housing. I do have various programs here at the library that kind of I guess brings people together, specifically immigrant and refugee population, to kind of give them a space where they can be able to interact with other like native speakers. One of that program is called Chat and Chai, and it happens every Tuesday from 10 to whenever. It doesn't really have an end time, even though it says it's 11:30. But and that space has been really a safe space for a lot of our immigrant population, especially um because a lot of times, I don't know, as immigrants, we bond over drinking tea and just eating a little snack here and there. So, and that the program kind of opens a space where people can do that and still interact with other community members, and it kind of gives them confidence to talk to native English speakers. And so yeah, it's a space where they can socialize, and it's really awesome. What else? I also kind of oversee a group of ambassadors. So we have a Corville Community Ambassador Program. It consists of about 8 people, and most of them speak various different languages. And they've been really helpful, being the bridging bridging the gap between us and the community, and like what is needed in the community, and they're kind of like a voice for us. So yeah, I work with those group of people. What else am I forgetting, Ellen?
Yeah, I think that covers that.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ellen and Samira, and you know, I think what is important here is for those of us who are here, we come here, we get this kind of information so that we can provide reference. If somebody comes to you and is living in around the Coralville area, they need some of these services, you can tell them to go to the library and harass Ellen or Samira, and they will be fine. So I think that there's a lot of, to be honest, I'm a Coralville resident, and I think there's a lot of enthusiasm on the side of these two who are doing this work, and I think supporting it and helping organizations know that these services are available and that the city is willing to actually just support it is very, very important. So thank you for what you do, Ellen and Samira.
Yeah, one thing I'll add, though, I think it would apply with the rest of the people in this group, is every time we have the University of Iowa Mobile Clinic here at the library, I started this thing called social service clinic. So it's on the side, so where we invite a lot of social service agencies in Johnson County to kind of come and table here. So if you're interested, there's only one left for the summer, and then there's another one coming in the fall. It usually depends on the University of Iowa Mobile Clinic's schedule. So I will reach out to you guys if you want to table our event, because most of the social services are physically located in Iowa City and not in Coralville. So
yeah,
that's
the way we're trying to combat the transportation problem.
Sure.
Exactly.
Social services. So
okay, I'm done.
Wonderful. This is very good. So thank you so much. Any questions for them? Okay, we'll move to Alex then.
Hello. So I wanted to give a couple updates about free English class at Kirkwood. We have changed our process. If you're familiar with the old process, it was super chaotic. People had to come here early to get an appointment, to be able to take a test. It was horrible for everyone. So we have moved to this nice little flyer. I can get you some of these if you would like. And students fill out an interest form via the QR code. And as we have appointments, we are reaching out to them to schedule an info session appointment. The online classes are only for students who do not live in Johnson or Lynn counties. So if you live in Johnson or Lynn County, then we can only offer face-to-face class. I think that's all for that one. Kristen, let me know if I've missed something, please. And then the other update I have is we have finally boosted our tutoring programs. We have new flyers. If you have volunteers who may be interested in tutoring, we have students who need tutoring services, and we can connect you with our tutor coordinator. I think, our our classes are very, very full. So just because they fill out an interest form doesn't mean I'm going to be able to give them class immediately by any means. But having the correct data is going to hopefully help us increase our funding in the next grant cycle. We're really looking for solid representation of what the community actually wants. Because when we just say we have more interest than we can serve, now we have numbers to back it up. So yeah, are there any questions about that? Thank you.
Are you saying you have a waiting list then?
Yes, so we have moved away from the everybody comes in and it's mass chaos to try to get an appointment by standing in line or calling over and over and over. And now it's really just a mass waiting list. And we are going through the list as quickly as we can to serve students. But it's at least less chaotic and nobody's taking off work to come get an appointment for English class.
Do you know how big that list is now?
It is large. But I don't have it sorted. I don't have the number for Cedar Rapids versus Coralville, but when we pulled the data last week, there were 490 some names on there, but that's for both Coralville and Cedar Rapids. But yeah, I would guess at least half of those are for Coralville.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a large number. Okay.
Yes,
thank
which
you
is why that data is super, like, I know that I can't serve everybody on that list, but if we can show the state, look at how many people need English class, hopefully that will help.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any questions for Alex? Okay. Wangui.
Thank you, Sandy. And thank you. Mine is mostly to thank everyone who is.
I don't know what's wrong with your. Are we
Can
here?
you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Yeah, mine is to thank everybody who's part of the Refugee Alliance for continuing to work with NISA African Family Services, especially at the referral point. And yeah, and reminding people to continue with the referral processes, because we realize sometimes from our name, NISA African Family Services, unless somebody goes into our website or they've been to some of our reach out or from somebody else, it's not obvious that we serve refugees and immigrants who have survived or who are victims of domestic violence. So somebody still has to go in there. So I am just asking again, please continue referring, because especially those who work with new arrivals, sometimes as soon as they hit our borders, they arrive already with a lot of domestic violence or any of the sexual violences, trafficking or sexual assault or stalking. So thank you again, and please keep up sending them our way, especially because we are cultural and linguistic specific. Thank you for that, and please continue helping us. And even when you refer, a lot of you work with us and you advocate with us as we continue helping them empower themselves. Thank you.
Thanks, Wangui, for what you do. Any questions for?
And if you ever want more to know about NISA, please invite us. We can do more other than this 1 minute bit that I've done. Thank you.
Anyone else have any updates?
Hi, I can share about a collaborative event that we'll have coming up in September. So September is Emergency Preparedness Month, and we are partnering with Johnson County Emergency Management, HACAP, Neighborhood Centers, Public Health, and the Disaster Prep Wise from the University of Iowa to host an emergency preparedness fair, which we're going to overlap with Welcoming Week. So if anybody's a part of Welcoming Week here, may have heard of this in the first planning meeting. If you're not and you'd like to be, it'd be great to get connected to Katie Gerlach. But our goal was to have this be a preparedness fair that was open to the entire community, but with a special focus on those who are new to the US and new to Iowa and unfamiliar with the sort of severe weather that we experience here and how to respond to that. So we'll have some educational resources that include just how to stay weather aware. Some of it will be online resources, but we'll also have a sort of infographic that's just like kind of what does the sky look like? What does that mean? Just because we know that we have weather events here that are not familiar to everybody who is resettling here. We'd love for anyone who would like to be involved as a tabling partner to reach out to me or any of the other partners that I mentioned who are planning. We intend to set this up as like a trick or treat style event so that attendees can create their own emergency go kit. So they can stop at each table, learn about the resources that that organization offers, and then collect an item for their emergency kit. So we'll need a lot of partners to help us with that. We also will have just some education in terms of what the different siren sounds mean. When does Johnson County run the sirens? And then how do you respond to that? Just because, again, in some places where folks are coming from, it might mean a go outside versus a stay inside and away from the windows situation. So this is tentative. This is pending confirmation from neighborhood centers, but our goal is to host it at the Pheasant Ridge location. But Neighborhood Centers is currently working with Johnson County Emergency Management to establish a resilience hub at the Pheasant Ridge location, which is a really, this would be the first one for Johnson County. The resilience hubs are intended to be just sort of a central location where community members can access resources, information related to any social services, any community services, and also emergency preparedness and response. So that's a separate project that's happening with the emergency management and Pheasant Ridge Neighborhood Center, but we thought we could sort of have this like a pilot before it's fully established to show this is a place where you can go for resources.
Interesting. Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you, Emily. That's a lot of good information. One thing I want to say, based on the request, I think that Alex, you say that if people need flyers, if you have the flyers, you can also send them to me and I'll forward it to the entire group.
I don't have a digital copy, but I'm going to see if I can get a digital copy from marketing.
Okay.
But I do have, hard copies. If anyone wants them, I can either make some couple rounds to Iowa City or I can leave them at our info desk if someone wants to come pick them up.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, but if you get a digital copy, I'll be very happy to forward it to the rest of the group. And
yes,
I think
I'll work on that.
The same thing, Emily, if you have any flyers or information that you want us to forward to the group, just send it to me and just reply to the email that I usually send and I'll forward it to the entire group.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we don't have any materials yet because there's still a lot of unknowns in terms of timing and location, but as soon as I have that and we get a flyer created, I'd be happy to share it with this group.
Great.
And I will just drop my email in the chat if anybody is interested in being a part of this. Please let me know. Thank you.
Samira is asking, will the events be in the Iowa City location? Which event are you talking about, Samira? Is that the one Emily discussed? Samira here? Okay. Okay, I think Emily had had made mention of the if there's nothing else to share, she had made mention of the Welcome Week, and we know that the Welcome Week is September the 13th to the 22nd. We have had the first meeting called at the at the merge, and we had the first meeting. I think about 17 people or 18 were in attendance of that meeting. We encourage most of the groups here to participate in the Welcoming Week too. So a lot of things are still things are still being initiated. I think the only group here that has probably gone far with planning is Iowa City Compassion, and I'm part of the IC Compassion, so I know about that. But we're going to do something similar to what we did last year. We're going to have a little bit differences because we're going to have a block party on the eastern side of town and on the Friday, and then we'll have an educational session for immigrants and refugees about immigrants and refugees generally, centered around IC Compassion in the evening of that Friday. On Saturday, there are also events that are scheduled then. We'll have a sunset salsa. On Saturday, there's going to be an Iowa football game. I don't know how you can tie some of that into what you do. And then on Sunday at 3:30 that day, we're going to have a screening of a film by the Iowa City Foreign Relations Council. It's going to be a film that is going to be screened, Monk and the Gun, at the film scene. And then there's, because it's going to be an hour game, there's going to be the University of Iowa Family Weekend. On Sunday, IC Compassion is going to have an intercultural community service of celebration and worship at the Church of Nazarene. And then we're going to have a welcome event at the Massa Park. So these are some of the events. I know that there's going to be an empowerment symposium at the merge. We're going to have a gala. Immigrant Welcome Network is going to have a gala. And so these are some of the activities. The city of North Liberty is wanting to organize an event. And I think as at now, I spoke with Micah, and I've discussed with Africa Communities Network, and they're trying to see if they can come together and organize an event in North Liberty. They have some funding that they'll be able to use that. And that's why I was asking about especially the newcomers, but they don't have to live in North Liberty. So if we have new refugees who have just arrived, we think that's going to be a very good opportunity for them to have a special welcome event. And that is going to be, that's part of what we're going to be planning for that. So I don't know if I forget anything else. Emily, were you at the meeting?
Sorry, the meeting for the fair?
Welcoming week?
I was not. I had another commitment, but Kayla from United Way, I had her go in my stead and share about it. But I should be at the upcoming ones. If not, someone from our team who's working on the fair will be there at each meeting.
Okay. So is there any other group here that has anything specially planned for the welcoming week? If not, we will keep updating as informations come out about who is going to do what. We'll update all of you about those activities or those programs, and so that we can send out and have people engaged or involved in all of them. So okay. Okay, thanks, Sarah, for that. Okay, so that is the update about the the welcoming week, as far as I know. And I know that we're going to have another meeting. Maybe I would send an information on the virtual meeting that the group is going to have, so that if you have time, you can attend. But also there's going to be, and I think we're going to have a face-to-face meeting, one more face-to-face meeting before the welcoming week itself. And I'll encourage the various groups to attend, so that you know what is happening and you can refer people there. Okay. Any questions about the welcome week? Okay. Well, actually, these are the two things. These are the two major things that we had on the agenda today. Is there anything else that anyone wants us to know? Beside the fact that we said we're going to look at the structure of Refugee Alliance, and I think one of the things that Emily said seems to be something that Refugee Alliance would have to we'll need to sit down and actually have a discussion, because the idea of having something like a one-stop resource center is something that Refugee Alliance has actually been looking at too. But we'll discuss that at the next meeting, and we'll give you information on what we have as far as that is concerned. Okay, I don't intend to hold anybody here if we don't have anything to discuss. Unless you want to chat with me about the summer. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming to the meeting. I appreciate the contributions of everyone. And thank you for everything that you do in the community for refugees and immigrants who are to make this place a welcoming community. And we'll see you on next month.
Oh, Sunday, I'm so sorry. I thought of one more thing that I wanted to share really quick. I
Okay.
know everyone's excited about the extra 15 minutes. I'll make it quick. So we are something coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We're hosting a school readiness fair called Ready Set School. That's in collaboration with the Salvation Army and neighborhood centers and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Registration for that has closed because we had 1,200 students register. That's what we figured our capacity was for this year. We are getting a lot of community members still reach out and asking if they can register. And what we're telling them is to get back. The event is August 9th at the Johnson County Fairgrounds. And so anyone who's called after the registration closed, we're just letting them know, get back in touch with us on August 12th, so the following Monday. And we're going to figure out a way to distribute any additional school supplies that we had once the event is over. But at the fair, it's going to be 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on August 9th. We'll have vaccinations, dental and vision exams, school supplies and backpacks, and haircuts. We have had, like I said, the registration filled up really quickly, 1,200 kids. A lot of the families who've signed up are refugees in our school district or new to the Iowa City area families. And we need a ton of volunteers to make this event happen. We have still around 180 volunteer shifts open. We needed about 300 volunteers total. So I could send a flyer to you Sunday if you'd be willing to pass it along to the group. We would love if anybody would be interested in volunteering for the event or passing it along to your networks. Especially if there's individuals in the group or if you have connections to bilingual, potential bilingual volunteers.
Wonderful. You say 1,200 students?
Yes, and that's just
Wow.
what was registered. So we've probably been contacted by at least 100 more families. You know, this is the first year that we've tried this more community collaborative event because different organizations have tried it in the past couple of years, and there's such a need that so many families show up all at one time, and it's created an unsafe environment for both the volunteers and the families. So that's why we did the registration style this time. Families were signing up for time slots so that we could keep it a little more organized, a little more safe for attendees. But I hope that it goes well, and I hope that next year, if all these groups want to come together again, we can increase that registration cap, just because the need is clearly there. So yeah, I'll send that flyer, and we would love any volunteer support or just spreading the word or anything y'all can do to help us make this successful.
Sure. Please send us a flyer. Yeah.
Will
Thank
do.
you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me have that last minute.
No,
little
thanks.
plug.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else, I would call this meeting to a close, and I'll see you next month, or you'll be receiving emails from me. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sunday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Hello?
Hey, Brian.